burn me some incense, some sage. I'm going to need some deep cleansing for this one. And I swear that my kindness can be mistaken for weakness sometimes. It's like a double-edged sword, and I hate that shit, yo. I really do. I hate that shit with a passion. Because, hold on, let me light my incense. It's been a long day today. Long day. I'm actually getting ready for bed, but I wanted to come on here and share this experience, this story with you guys. So yeah, I swear someone said where the lights at. Listen, it's clearly an audio live, okay? It's not gonna be video. So all you need to do is use your ears, not your eyes for this one. But yeah, it's like I swear I be trying to spare people's feelings, yo. I'm such a kind person, and like I said, I think it's like a double-edged sword because, you know, I really do myself a disservice by being too nice and overly concerned about how other people feel, right? So I'm having this issue at my workplace, right? You guys know I'm a psychologist. I work for the state of New York. I work on a team with mostly professionals by licensure, shall I say. Most of the people that I work with are licensed professionals, but then there are some who are not. And so, because I work at a hospital, and so it's funny because I knew this was going to be a problem, right? But sometimes we like to ignore it, thinking, okay, it's just going to go away, hoping it'll go away if you just don't really feed into it and pay much attention to it. But what I noticed is the complete opposite is happening, and it is really getting on my nerves and annoying the shit out of me, right? So, anybody know anything about me? You know that you say you're afraid of the dark. You know that. Oh wait, I just realized who's watching. Hold on, I thought this was someone else. It's funny. Okay. Anybody know anything about me? Wait. As a side note, hold on. Side note. I realize who's watching, right? Side note. I'm making a mental note, right? Because I'm putting two and two together. Okay, it's starting to make sense now. Side note, mental note for myself. No wonder. Okay, no wonder I got a call from that person. All right. But anyway, going back to the story. So, yeah, it's like the more I try to ignore something, the bigger it grows. And I sense that this is going to be a problem, right? So, okay, I was saying, anybody know anything about me know that, number one, I prefer to kind of work for myself, right? That's always been my mentality, my mindset, my motivation, my drive, just my focus, being self-employed. However, because I am working towards my licensure, which I'm pretty much near completion right now because I'm finishing my postdoc hours and I'm about to sit for my licensure exam. But as part of this process, I have to be supervised, and so therefore I'm working within an agency for the state of New York. And with that, I have to work around people, right? Which I feel like I don't really have a problem working with people, right? It's not like I can't get along with other people. It's just that sometimes I run into these kind of issues, right? And it's just so annoying. I feel like, people ask me, oh, well, do you plan to go into private practice? Yes, I do. Because I don't want to have to deal with people who lack self-awareness. Right? Like at this age, I feel like we should all be attuned to what's happening within ourselves and how it impacts other people, especially if you're working in a professional environment. Like, I am focused on serving the population, the patients, the clients that I'm working with. I want to direct my focus on that, and I'm purpose driven, right? So it just irks my nerve when, like, I feel like anything or anyone tries to distract me from my purpose. I know a lot about you. Who's watching and who called. You know a lot about me. How you know a lot about me? I don't think you know as much as you think you know. But anyway, so I want to stay focused. That's the reason why I chose not to do a video part of this. And I don't want to read the comments because it's a distraction. But yeah, I'm purpose driven. I'm focused, right? And anything that tries to distract me from that, like, it's going to be a problem, right? So when I started back at the hospital, back in December 2021, like, I was welcomed with open arms, and people were just really excited to have me on the team as a ward psychologist and da da da. And I mean, this is not a new occurrence, right? I've experienced this before within other workplace settings, especially working around men. I've been the only woman on the clinical team. Like, I've been in work settings where I'm like the only woman, right? And I just feel like I see why they have these policies, these laws, more specifically, in place to protect women. Not just women, but, everyone, but especially women, because you just have people, like I say, who are not self-aware. And even if they are, they just don't care. They're very disrespectful and self-centered. And, like, I'm not with the bullshit. I know that you're moving to Africa, so get going. And you better read those comments. Listen, you funny. I'm not moving to no freaking Africa. But Africa definitely is on my radar. Um, I'm not really opposed to it, though, but I do plan to visit Africa soon. So I there's this person, right, at my workplace who um, initially, made conversation with me, right? And usually it's like in the break room. But not just in the break room, though. Even like while we're on the shift, on the clock or whatever. And it started out where, he's like talking about himself, him being a single man, and, things that he does in his leisure. And he's asking me about, like, my personal life, which, like I said, I just think that this is me. Like, I'm a very different person, right? And I think it should be apparent, but, you have people who are very much accustomed to the politics of the work environment, working around people, and then you have people like myself. Listen, like I said, I'm a self-employed type of person, right? I'm working within this setting because it's a means to an end in terms of getting my licensure. But I don't do this, right? I don't. There's some things I just don't do. And people wanting to be friendly, like they want to make friends with you at work, and I'm like, this is not me, yo. First of all, right? Then on top of that, it's just like, okay, I get that, okay, you want to make friends, right? So I make it clear that, listen, I'm not here for that. I'm actually here to do my job, right? This is my passion. This is what I feel like I'm called to do. You know, this is the work that I really enjoy. I enjoy giving back, and I enjoy working with people, right? This is what I'm here for. I'm here for the patients. Yes, I work amongst a team, which I know how to do that quite well. But I'm not here to entertain, like, these side conversations relating to my personal life or other people's personal life. Because to be quite honest, I don't really care. I don't care about your personal life, right? I don't care to even talk about what I'm doing on the weekends with you, because that's none of your business. Like, for me, I'm the kind of person, I like to keep personal life separate. Like, work is work, business is business, and that's it. I draw the line. I really do not care. I just don't. But yeah, people are people, right? So this guy, and this is an older man, by the way, he's like, telling me about his personal life, and I'm like, okay, me just being nice, and we're in the break room, making conversation, and asking me about, my, personal life, and I'm like, I'm single, and he's like, oh, why are you single, and da da da. I think I'm a transparent person, as you guys can see, especially with me doing my vlogs. And so, I'm saying, of course, I have certain criteria that I look for in a man, and he's just like, oh yeah, and he's like trying to, and this conversation actually happened, like, I would say months ago, right? He's like, oh, and the thing about me, like, I'm up for a good intellectually based conversation. Like, I don't mind conversing with people and exchanging ideas. So that's kind of the approach that I took with it, right? When this conversation was being had surrounding my personal dating preferences, and I'm like, I won't say I'm picky, but I'm very selective. And he's just like, oh, you gotta do this, and oh, why you being so hard on men, and da da da. I'm just like, no, right? And it came around to the topic of cooking. Like, he was talking about cooking, for a man, and cleaning, and all this stuff, which I don't have a problem with, but I felt like he was putting himself too much in that conversation, right? Like, I don't like it when people try to tell me, first of all, any damn thing, right? I'm a grown-ass woman. I have my own mind. I'm very autonomous in my thinking, in my being, and everything, right? So I take major issue when, yes, we can discuss various topics, right? But if I'm expressing myself and saying, okay, this is who I am and this is what I think of a thing, you can say your perspective, but don't try to discredit, don't try to put down what I'm saying, right? Because what I'm saying is valuable, and I feel like if I'm expressing myself to a person, right, it doesn't matter the setting. I feel like this is my valuable breath, right? This is my valuable or invaluable time, shall I say, that I'm offering to you, which I don't even have to do. Because first of all, this isn't me, Like, I don't do this, okay? I don't entertain conversations with people that aren't a part of my, like, inner circle, So for me to be doing this, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going out of my way, and then like, yeah, it's just annoying, right? I'm even getting annoyed just even thinking about this, right? Um, so going back to that conversation, it was just like he's kind of like arguing. I feel like it was like going back and forth, and I'm just like, what is this? Like, you asked me my perspective, I shared my perspective. If you disagree, okay, so fucking what? End of discussion. I have nothing, like, why are we even talking about this, right? Um, so that was that, and then, like, this was, like, months ago, and then, like, since then, like, this person at my workplace has been, like, every time I come into the lunchroom, like, he's in there. Not to make a big deal about that, because, yes, we all share the same staff break room or whatever, but it's like, oh, what, did you bring me anything? No, what the fuck? Like, and the first time he said it, I didn't think much of it, right? But the fact that it's like a constant reoccurrence of him saying that to me is so fucking annoying, right? Rewind, because before he got to this point, he was like, oh, he'll be asking me, like, oh, what are you doing on the weekend? And then he's like, oh, you didn't invite me. He'll ask me, how was your weekend? You didn't invite me. I'm like, what? It's one thing to, like, make a joke, right? But if you can make a joke, okay, let that be the end of it, But to, like, carry it on is more than a joke when a person does this repeatedly. It's one thing to just, make a casual, random joke, right? And is one and done, right? But then for this to be like a regular occurrence for like every single time, it's the same question or quote unquote joke. It's not a joke, right? So that's the annoying part to me. And then okay, you about to get blocked. Yeah, you about to get blocked. Suspend. Prevent this person from commenting for 15 minutes. Sometimes you have to teach people, show people better, you can tell them, right? So this is pretty much what I'm going to end up doing at my workplace is that, I'm trying to be nice, right? You try to be nice and, try to kind of take humor, right? And not take things so seriously. Yes, I feel like I'm a comical person. I know how to laugh and have a good time, but at the same time, like, do not disrespect me, okay? Respect to me is number one, right? That's priority. And if you see that I'm not entertaining your gestures or what you're saying, like, I feel like people don't pick up on cues. That's the problem. So this person has been repeatedly asking me, like when I come into the break room to microwave my lunch, she's like, "Oh, you didn't bring me anything." I'm like, so I usually just ignore it because I feel like this can't be a real question. This can't be a real question, right? And he's asking me this over and over again. I'm like, how dumb can this person be? If I'm not responding to you, he's like, oh, you don't hear me, you don't hear me, right? Like today, I go in there and put my food, go walk towards the microwave and put my food in the microwave, and then he's like, oh, is that mine? Set it down right here in front of me. He's sitting down at the table. He's like, sit it down right here. Sit it down right here. And I proceed to go put my food in the microwave. I'm like, what the fuck? And so there was two other staff also in the break room, in addition to me and this guy. And so I look at the other staff, and it's the woman, right? And I'm like, you see this? He's harassing me. I look towards her and she's like, oh, I'm just going to do what I was taught to do as a little girl. Stay out of grown folks' business. I'm like, oh, this is the kind of party that we're doing. Like this is the kind of party that's what's going on right here. I'm like, I just that rubbed me a certain kind of way, yo. I'm just like, mm-mm. See, this is the reason why I don't do workplace settings, y'all. I just don't. I can't. Mm-mm. I don't have I feel like I don't have the tolerance for it. I feel like I'm above it. That's what I feel like. I feel like if I'm like, listen, I've invested so much to get to where I am, right? And I feel like at this position, at this level, which, by the way, I guess it should go without saying, but my pay grade is above most people I work with, except, I'll be honest, except for the medical specialists and psychiatrists. But there's not too many people where I work that whose pay grade is higher than mine. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm just saying, like, at this level, I expect to be centered around people who are wise, who are smart, who are, like, self-respecting, you know, who have insight, who are self-aware. Like, this should go without saying. You hear me? It's just like, the fact that I'm even, like, experiencing this, and the fact that I'm even, having to come to a decision to even have to report this, it really irks my nerve, because I feel like this is taken away from what I can be focused on, what I should be focused on. I shouldn't have to deal with this. Like, the level of annoyed that I am, yo. And so for this person, I felt like she was co-signing him. She's pretty much acting like, oh, it's not my business, here no evil. But it's funny that people act like they don't want to be a part of something, right? When you clearly see that this is inappropriate behavior. You see that, you would think, okay, if you align it with him, right? Like, let's say she feel like she closer to him than me, because they are on the same pay grade, essentially, which is well beneath mine, then pull him over to the side and let your bro know, like, come on, don't be doing this, I don't know if she had that talk with him or not, but I'm just like, yo, I'm about to go ahead and make some moves for real, because I feel like even with reporting it, let's say internally, I don't even feel like it's going to do anything. Of course, I can take that approach. It says this person is now timed out and cannot comment for 15 minutes. Good. Of course, I could take that approach and make a internal complaint, right, of sexual harassment, because that's what I feel like. Like, when I mentioned in the break room, I was like, you see, this person is harassing me. Why is he harassing me about bringing him food? Because I had told him before I made that statement, I said, I will never bring you food. Essentially, to say that, stop asking me that. Like, I was like, I don't want to be mean, and I can just cut straight to the chase and be like, yo, But I feel like outside of that, this person, he could be a good person. It's not like a person's all the way bad, I feel like he does great work, with the patients that we work, with or whatever. So it's not, I don't want to, like, completely dismantle that relationship, that professional relationship that exists, because we are a part of the same team working on the same ward. But at the same time, it's just like, come on, please. It should go without saying, respect. Respect. Okay, you can, as a man, have an attraction towards a woman. I know I'm a very attractive woman. I know a lot of men may see me as attractive and whatever, may have interest. But listen, I've already said to this person, because he tried to express interest kind of like underhandedly, and hooking up with me. And I'm just like, I told him, I say, listen, I don't do that. I don't date people where I work. And so he made a joke, was like, okay, I'll just have to, something about like, quitting or getting another job somewhere else, and then I can holler at you or something like that. And I'm just like, no. No, sweetheart. First of all, this man is much older, okay? I don't know how old he is, but he got to be pushing 70 or somewhere up there. But either way, he's definitely not my type. Aside from him not being my type, I'm just like, I don't do that. And even aside from, like intimate relationships, at work, I don't do any kind of relationship. I'm not interested in making friends with even women there. Nobody. Like, I go there, I do my thing, and I'm done. I think it takes really getting to know me as a person to know that for me, any type of alliance that I make with a person, any type of quote unquote friendship, which I'm very careful with that word, everything to me is sacred. And it definitely has to be purpose driven. We're not just hanging out just to be hanging out, exchanging phone numbers just to be like, what? No. I have people who follow me on social media, wanting to do business, people wanting to be friends. They think I'm cool, and I shared recently how there's this woman who somehow, I guess, was being entertained by Dr. Umar Johnson. You guys know that I definitely am a supporter of Dr. Umar Johnson, but she, wanted to, like, she's calling me, calling me through Facebook and shit like that. I'm just like, I'm not that kind of person. I'm just not. I wouldn't say I'm antisocial, but I'm very protective of my space. I don't deal with people like that. And then even on this level here, like with men trying to, please, please, please keep your distance and just keep it professional. If you keep it professional, it's simple, right? People mess up and start like fucking up when they crossing those boundaries, and you're not seeing, like, while this dude is talking, I'm walking out the freaking lunchroom, not even paying this person no attention. But I get it. Like, if you work in a certain culture, in an environment where other women think that shit cute because they got low self-esteem, I ain't nowhere near low self-esteem over here, right? So I'm not moved by people's compliments or men's gestures to like, oh, you're cute, you're beautiful, or want to hit. Like, I'm not moved by that. If anything, I'm repulsed. I'm usually repulsed. Like, do not look at me. Don't talk to me like that. Just have respect for me as a woman, especially as a doctor, a psychologist. That's it. That's it. Do not. Come on now. Yeah. So. Yeah, I get it that a lot of women, and I see what's happening, because I see that, other women, like, he's talking to, and they, like, kikiing and think the shit cute. That shit is no. Mm-mm. Boundaries over here. All the way. And another thing, I feel like, okay, I work on a ward. All the patients are men, right? It's bad enough that, first of all, they're sexually deprived. So, of course, I get, even my patients be trying to hit on me, trying to give me money. Like, I finished group, right? I finished meeting with them doing group, and patients be offering me money. I'm like, no, keep your money. I don't take your money, or I don't want your money, right? It's bad enough that they oftentimes are delusional in their thinking and think that we go together, right? I had to set boundaries with them and say, no, we do not. It's like, oh, do we go together now? They just misinterpret behavioral cues, and they thinking that just because, obviously I've built rapport with all of my patients there for the most part, you know, so they feel very comfortable and be able to open up and to speak to me, but I have to set boundaries with them. So it's bad enough that I'm doing that, and that is my job, which I have no issue doing at all. Right? I've been in this. I'm not new into this field. Right? I've been in this field. I've been working with patients, especially male patients. I worked in a prison in California, so I'm definitely not new at this. I can do this. I'm okay, you know, with doing this as my job, but to work with male employees who know fucking better, yo. You know better. Like, it's just too much to have to tell them to set boundaries with them. Like, come on, it should go without saying, you know. But yeah, I see that there's a culture where women are reinforcing of that at the workplace, and they think this shit is cute. I don't think that shit is cute by a long shot. Like, do not try me like that. It's annoying. I've dealt with that, like I said before, in the past, even in other settings where even my very first position that I had in the field, one of my very first positions that I had in the field of mental health, and yes, it was late, and I'm tired. It was 11 o'clock. So I was working at a residential treatment facility. It was a lockdown facility, working with children who were wards of the state of Florida. All boys. I find myself working like in lockdown facilities just around men or boys. I noticed that as a theme. And with that, I was, you know, like the only woman, only female working on that unit, you know, amongst all men, which I don't have an issue with, but I did have an issue with, like they feel like they want to hit. Like, I had multiple co-workers, you know, trying to hit on me, want to take me out, like at least three. Two were supervisors. Make it so bad. I don't want to go into detail because I did write about this in my book, American Dream. A lot of people just have no clue, yo. My story is so multi-layered, and I've been through so much. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but what I can say here is that two of those three co-workers that I work with, who were men trying to hit on me, two were supervisors, and they ended up retaliating because I denied their advances. And it's just like, what the heck? I'm not here for work, yo. I'm here to work and to serve these kids who have suffered severe trauma. I mean, we talking about like very horrible stories, like experiences that they've gone through. One kid was in foster care. He became a ward of the state because his mom just discarded him at birth. Right? Just to give you guys a picture of the kind of kids. So you're talking about like the focus. You see what I'm saying? The focus. I have a passion. It's the reason why I'm drawn to this, because I have my own personal experiences that I've been through that make me a great candidate for this kind of work. And so, yes, I'm very focused. Like, I take my work very seriously, and I don't like when people try to distract. And yeah, workplace sexual harassment is a thing. And so I'm just going to give a brief kind of synopsis of each person, each of these three men, and what happened in this scenario. I'm not going to go into too much detail, like I said, because I have to save it. It's spelled out in what I went through, whatever, in my autobiography. But so one of the guys, like, he wasn't a supervisor, but he tried to, is an older man, you know, like wanting to hang out. I'm just like, no, right? Another one, the supervisor, same thing. All of them wanted to hang out, invite me to their place. I'm just like, no. The difficult part about it, though, was that the supervisors actually retaliated against me, which is really illegal. Like, I could have filed a lawsuit, right? I was very young, though. Talking about fresh out of college, right? So I graduated college from Florida State University with my bachelor's in psychology at the age of 22, right? Like, soon after I graduated, I got offered a full-time position in the field. And I entered into a master's program. Had my own place, 2-bedroom apartment, like 10 minutes from Jax Beach in Florida. Doing the damn thing, right? Still young, like 22 years old, so I'm young and dealing with this, right? But still very smart and goal-driven and just purpose-driven, having, a passion. And my passion still hasn't died. And I'm having to deal with sexual harassment at the workplace, and all of that, on top of that, retaliation because I denied their advances. It's just like, these are things that women shouldn't have to go through. But I'm about to wrap it up because it's just, it's unnerving, it's annoying, and it's making me think about other experiences that I've gone through just being a woman, which is very unfortunate, that I also talk about in my story. I feel like my story is definitely a long time coming because for many different reasons it has been put like on hold. One of the main reasons because I've pretty much been silenced, but not permanently, but I was silenced for many years. Almost like threatened to not release my story. So I feel like I had to be more calculated about going about sharing my story. But I've been through freaking so much, and no, I am not no freaking victim. Yes, even though I've been through a lot, I don't like to identify myself as no kind of victim of anything. If anything, I'm a survivor. But yeah, it's just I'm just so annoyed because it's like life is already hard in and of itself, right? Without all this extra shit, on top of it, it's just that's the annoying part about it. And it's just like people act like they don't have this self-awareness to be able to see, like, okay, especially me being a black woman, I'm already like throughout my life, already going through bullshit, not to mention racism, and I'm even experiencing that on my current job now, which, yep, I do have an open freaking discrimination lawsuit. But yeah, it's just like one thing on top of the other. It's like, damn, why can't you just just show up in the world? I'm doing the right thing, putting my best foot forward, but yet still, like, damn. This is the reason why I say to myself, but I've always been that kind of person, even before going through these major life-turning events or whatever. I think that's been my personality, where I always just kind of kept to myself. But definitely, through experience that reinforces, I think, my tendency to want to just be alone, because a lot of people, first of all, don't have other people's best interests, in mind when, you're dealing with these kind of people. People usually have their own ulterior motives, very selfish and just disrespectful, No, I feel like no one can treat me well and love me how I love myself. That's the thing, So, yeah, it's just, I know that a lot of other women, and it's not just a woman thing, but seems to be an issue that definitely a lot of women have been impacted by. And, a lot of women can relate to my experiences, and I just wanted to come here and share and just be very transparent as I'm, usually am, with certain aspects of my life. But, I tell you, it's just like, come on. It just never stops. It just never stops. It's never ending, yo. And then, yeah, I'm thinking about that side note, that mental note that I made. It's just, life is, you know. And people talk about getting married. You know, I'm kind of taking a tangent here because I'm reflecting back on the comment that this person left. And it made me think about, as a side note, but yeah, people talk about wanting to be married, and you know, I often reflect, and I'm just like, you know, life is not so bad being single. It's not, you know. Life becomes a lot more complicated, I think, in joining two different worlds into one, right? And dealing with the in-laws, like, listen, I ain't got time for that. You know, the drama and, you know, the backstabbing and the jealousy. You know, I'm just, you know, I feel like I'm too focused. I've said that over and over again. That's a common theme you're going to hear in this video. It's just that I'm too goal-driven. That's just who I am. I can definitely relate to Dr. Umar Johnson and his mission being set out to build an African-centered school, and how he's very meticulous about who he lets into his inner circle, because, yo, a lot of people, they're not aligned with your purpose. So they don't have that in mind, you know, like they have their own agenda, which oftentimes conflicts with yours, and they're really distractions. They're just in the way. It's like, why are you here? Why are you crossing my path? Like, why are you in my way? Get out of my way. You know? I have no interest in talking to you. I have no interest in dealing with you, you know, outside of what's necessary. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to end this video on that note and definitely wrap this up and get ready for bed. I usually block people. I don't hesitate because, I can be a very fun person and comical and humorous, but at the same time, like, I don't have time. I have very little tolerance for ignorance and bullshit, okay? Because one thing I noticed, you give ignorance an inch, it goes a whole mile. And we're not doing that over here. We're not doing that over here. I show people respect, and that's the least I can ask for in return. You know, is respect. So it's unfortunate that I may just have to file a report. You know, like, I'm very calculated in how I do things and how I move, but it's like I don't want to. Honestly, I really don't. I do not want to report this person, right? But, like, what does it take? Like, don't you see that I'm annoyed? Don't you see that this is harassment? You know? And then it's like, my thing is this. A woman can go and confront, right? And draw the line and put her foot down and say, oh, you know, don't do this, right? I don't appreciate this. I feel offended, or whatever, however a woman frames it towards the person who is offending. And then they act like they want to get mad, you know? Like, they don't see what they're doing is wrong. Because if they did, you wouldn't do it, right? Like they say, you know better, you do better. So if a motherfucker is in this position to be sexually harassing someone or harassing a person, then they clearly have no awareness. Because why would you do that, right? You would not do that if you knew, like, come on. Especially knowing the consequences, like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, this is definitely outside of the professional realm. And I'm not deserving of this kind of treatment, you know, and And some people may listen to this and think, oh, well, that's just, you just being petty. That's small stuff. Like, no. No. Mm-mm. Like I said, I have low tolerance for bullshit, and I'm this way all the way around. Like, you're not gonna sit up here and cross me and disrespect me. A lot of stuff people just let fly and let people just walk all over them and treat them any kind of way. It can be in a supermarket. Like, no. And I feel like it can be exhausting because it's like, okay, you're putting people in their place. I shouldn't have to put you in your place. Like, you should know what's appropriate and what's not appropriate. You should just know. But this is like, it's just, I feel like it's getting out of hand. And like, for me to, and he probably felt like I put him on the spot by saying like, yo, like, why are you harassing me? I said this, kind of said it indirectly, trying to be nice, right? Trying to be nice, but it's like I said, when you go there with a person like that, then they want to sit there and get defensive and just like, oh, what's your problem? And it's just like, I don't have time for drama. I don't have time for unnecessary conflict. Like, some people, like, I feel like they're just, imbeciles, just the scum of the earth. I don't want to say it like that, but I just feel like if you have things that you work hard towards, right, and you're goal driven, like you have a purpose in life and a mission, you're gonna be so focused on that you're not gonna be consumed with these menial things, Like, and this man is saying he don't, he's single, he don't have a partner. It's like, okay, but that's not my fucking problem. I'm not here to feed you. What the fuck? Tomorrow, did I bring you lunch? Like, what the fuck? The hell, yo? That's annoying to me. Mm-mm. Yeah, so, we definitely gonna see how this plays out. Usually I feel like things work themselves out, especially when I like put it out there in the universe. It has been released. It has been spoken. Okay? And I have spoken. Um so usually, it kind of works itself out, and I noticed like even with the other issue at work, it has somewhat smoothed out, but I feel like I feel like justice still needs to be served, right? Because with me being the person who I am and being an advocate for racial justice, an activist more so. Like, I have this fire in me, right? Even though I've said this before, like, I've kind of tamed the lion. I've tamed this fire, right? I'm moving more strategically somewhat, and being politically aware, being very diplomatic about how I move, calculated, but it's not to say that fire is still not there. So that's what it is. It's just who I am. I've always been this way, and I take a look at myself, I self-reflect and be like, yeah. And it's like other people don't know, right? They don't quite know. So when you show them like who you are, they're like, oh, like they're a little bit surprised, right? I'm a part of this, team within a system, which I know clearly I don't belong. This is not me. I've said it over and over again. This is fucking not me. Okay? I'm playing a role, but this clearly is not. I don't fit. I do not fucking fit, okay? Because, yeah. My views, my passion, just my nature in and of itself. I've learned, like I said, to tame myself and to kind of just maneuver. And in this maneuvering, I'm learning too. So I like being a person who likes to learn. I feel like I'm benefiting from it. You know, it's not like, okay, I'm just in a situation where I don't fit and, you know, it's a loose situation. No, you know, I'm benefiting at the same time. And I'm learning, you know, and I feel like anything that you can put yourself in where you can learn from, you know, that's a win. But, yeah, this is just another reminder that it's time, yo. Like, I'm speaking out loud, I get it, and I know for people who may be listening, a lot of y'all don't get it. A lot of y'all don't even understand a lot of things I post. It's just like, whew, it goes right over your head. I made this post recently where I was on a train and this person comments, because I was on an empty train essentially, right? I was on an empty train, no one was there. Not that I got on an empty train, but you know, no one was on the train when I made the video, and I realized like I'm on the train by myself. And so I uploaded that video, and then someone comments and says, "Oh, be careful," and I laugh. I just find that phrase to be very odd. It's very weird to me when people say be careful or be safe. And you know, I said this before. I was dating this Muslim guy, lives in the Bronx, from Gambia, West Africa, and he would say that like, "Oh, be careful." And he's just like hyper focused on danger. And I'm just like, it's just interesting because people are just programmed differently. My mind is definitely programmed much differently than most people's mind, right? I do not see the world as most people see the world, especially living here in New York City. Seeing it as a dangerous place, but I was able to see that I'm not alone in this because I was on this other blogger's live video. He has a massive following. He does like tours of different neighborhoods, and other people were saying the same thing, right? This is like a common theme that people just are fear driven. And so they're on his video and they're like, "Oh, be careful," right? And so he was like, "Be careful." Like, I don't say, pretty much saying the same thing that I'm saying. Like, I don't see New York as a dangerous place. It's pretty safe. And I had to like offer my support, yo. I'm like, "Yo, I feel you 100%. This is a white man, but I'm like, I feel you 100%. Because I go through the same thing. And I say, I absolutely hate when people say that. And nothing hurts me more when people say that shit. Because it's like they're imposing their reality, their fear-driven reality onto you when that's not even your reality. That's not your frame of reference. That's not the lens at which you look through the world, right? I think this is important though. Like, I'm emphasizing this because it's important, right? Energy is important, right? Who you associate yourself with, right? When you're around people who are fear driven, it's like that can be contagious. I don't want that around me because that's not how I live my life, you know? So, yeah, recently when I posted that video and this person was like, "Be careful," I'm like, "You clearly do not know me." You just do not know me. And then I made the post about how I can tell people who don't know me, right? Based on just the certain things they say. And I made the joke, quote unquote, how they say, "Be careful," because if you really knew, you'll know, like, okay, yes, I do work, which most people would consider to be a very dangerous job, right? But I don't look at it that way because I have much experience and definitely have been primed for this. And I just have a different lens in which I look through. But if you want to go there based on how most people in society would deem to be dangerous, like, look at the population I work with, look at the setting in which I work, right? So I just say that to say I find it kind of ironic that people um, say things, I think, mindlessly. Just, I don't know. I get it, they're speaking from their perspective, but if you, you can speak from your perspective, but also consider who you're speaking to, right? Which I don't think people put much thought into, so I just find that to be, sometimes it's just hard for my brain to kind of compute it. Like my brain, I can't compute it right. Not that I'm incapable of being able to do that, but it's just kind of awkward. Because I'm like, what? That doesn't apply to me. That's how I see it. Like what you're saying, your view does not affect me. It doesn't apply to me. If that was the case, then I wouldn't even be in the field that I would like. I wouldn't be doing this work, right? Like to say, "Oh, be careful." If I was to really truly follow your advice and be quote unquote careful, I would not be working where I work. So just think about that. Yeah, I'm different. I'm a different person. That reminds me of like when I actually applied to be a police officer back in Florida. My mom said, "What are you thinking?" She thought I was insane. I'm like, maybe I am. I guess it takes an insane person to do this kind of work. But I don't have a what do you call it? A bone, a fear bone in my body. I just don't. I'm not driven by that. I just have a different perspective. But I digress. So, I think it just matters like who you surround yourself with, and just knowing that, I'm putting things into perspective, and I'm constantly reminding myself like, okay, this is just, like this is just temporary. This is not the final destination. I know that this is not my final destination. And I sometimes, and I'm definitely about to wrap this up, but I sometimes struggle with, I vacillate between like, damn, and fully integrating into society, right? And your typical job, like fitting in, right? Between that and just letting the fire burn and being this fierce, just being myself, right? Not even having the labels of it, but just for conversation's sake, so you guys can understand where I'm coming from. Like being this like revolutionary, like fiery person. That's just who I am naturally. I've always been that way. The people who truly know me is really my biological family, and they will tell you, my mom, my sister, my dad, like, I ain't nothing to be played with, yo. But I definitely know how to play a role, and I feel like that's what I'm doing, like just playing a role. But the question, like, how long can I play this role, right? Because this is not me. But I see how people get trapped. Like, so, yes, this topic of the video is about sexual harassment in the workplace, right? But even tied into that, it's a reminder, like, yo, you're not even supposed to be here any fucking way, But I'm like, this is just a means to an end. So that's why I'm here. But we ain't supposed to be here, I was reminded that, like, even when I had the, earlier encounters related to, racial discrimination, I'm just like, what the fuck? Y'all got me fucked. Like, this is not even me. But people who have walked with me on my journey, they can kind of tell you somewhat, right? And those people that have walked with me on my journey, I attracted them. So it's something in them that relates to who I am as a person, clearly. That we can walk the same path, right? So, yeah. But I'm feeling this. And I feel like I'm loving this self-reflection. And I do care genuinely, very deeply about people and people's feelings. Like I said when I started the video, that I spare people's feelings. That's the problem. I know my words can cut deep. I don't want to, I really don't want to offend anyone, right? I don't want to put anyone at a disadvantage, right? Even when it came to filing this racial discrimination suit, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I still don't want to do it because it's kind of an open case. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I just don't want to be mistreated. That's it. I don't want to be mistreated. But it's like, if I have to go about doing this so that I am not mistreated and other people who come behind me won't have to go through this, then okay, then I have to do this, right? Because I don't want to do it because I feel for those people. Because I know that they're going to suffer consequences, And that's a crazy thing about it, that I have so much compassion that, wrong can be done to me, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and I just don't want that done to other people, even though they've done wrong to me. That's the crazy part about it, That's like people like me. I feel like, and I want to say I'm an anomaly, because there are other people who are similar to me in the sense where they are just truly kind-hearted people. And those people, get taken advantage of. Those people get mistreated. And those people tend to say, you know what, And they see the world for kind of what it is at the same time, even though they're good people. And they try to keep their distance. They usually, but they have a space reserved for those people who are like-minded and get it, and are very respectful. You have to. This is called self-care, It's not that I'm guarded to the point where I'm fearful of people, because I feel like fear doesn't really exist in my reality. I'm guarded to protect myself in a sense of taking care of myself, right? This is self-care. This is honoring and valuing, my own mental, emotional, physical well-being, my spiritual well-being, right? And upholding the sanctity of that sacred space, and being isolated from people who don't see the value, right, or don't quite fully know themselves, or are unaware, not self-aware. So yeah, that's the reason why people go in isolation. Like when you see people going on a spiritual journey, what's the first thing they do? They isolate, because that's where the cleansing comes from. That's where the enlightenment comes from, when you are alone, because you're not mixing with other people's energies and their train of thought, their perspectives, their conditioning, their programming, right? We're all programmed, right? But when it comes to spiritual enlightenment and having that level of awakening, self-awakening, that's just simply what it takes. So I don't mind, like, when I go live, I go live on Facebook to pre-record my videos, essentially, to be uploaded to YouTube, which that's where my videos are monetized. and I reach a broader audience usually when I upload my videos to YouTube. I don't mind when I go live on Facebook and, there's a few people watching or no one watching, right? Because I don't like other people's interference, and for the most part, y'all not really in alignment with what I'm saying. You have, of course, you have your perspective, which most of the time I don't really care to hear anyway, because that's not why I'm here. I'm here to share my perspective, not necessarily hear yours, because I just see it as a distraction. You have people that get on my live video, and what the comments that they leave have absolutely nothing to do with the topic of the video, which I feel like can be a little bit childish, because sometimes people do that intentionally, right, to distract. And just people are just attention seeking like little children, So, yeah, I only have but so much tolerance for those kind of people. And a lot of them end up on my block list. So I noticed that is what happened tonight, where someone was commenting and just trying to distract away from the topic. When I get on here and I speak relating to something, a topic of interest to me, or something that was recommended that I talk about, then that's the topic. Right? That's the focus. Anything outside of that, like, I can care less to hear about or to even address. So on that note, I am going to wrap this up. I may come back with an update. We'll see how it goes. Every day for me, I feel like like me just going to quote unquote 9 to 5 is a struggle for me every fucking day, yo. Y'all have no idea. Y'all just have no, because like I said, it's just not me. It's just not. It just goes against every part of my being, my belief system, everything. But thankfully, I am near the end of this part of my journey. So, yeah. I say this in love, though. Yeah. People just do things because they don't know any better. And I get it, It's unfortunate, for me. It's just like I don't have the time to be trying to explain myself in that situation or come to a level of understanding. Of course, I understand pretty much anything, right? This is what I do as a profession. This is what I do for a living, right? Is understanding behavior. But just because I can understand something don't mean I necessarily want to. Don't mean necessarily I want to excuse it, right? Or give leeway to it. Like, hell nah. This motherfucker know this is an old ass man, older man, right? He know better, And I just feel like people do things because they're allowed to do it, and I'm not there for that. I'm not here to be someone's parent. Like my coworker, you're a grown ass man. I'm not here to parent you and tell you what to do. And I just feel like people pull you into these enactments because they're lacking in their own personal life. Clearly, he's looking for attention. He's craving for that shit because he don't have that in his own personal life. And so it's like you doing too much. And this is what I wouldn't have to deal with if I was just completely self-employed, Yes, they have protocols and policies in place and laws. Like, I don't want to have to go through that, It's just too much. It's just a distraction. It's time consuming. Yeah. Feel free to share your comments below, you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.